Hi, and welcome to the Jackie Nova Show. I'm Jackie Nova. Thank you for being here tonight with me and my special guests. Tonight we're going to be speaking about domestic violence. Now, I don't know if you're all aware, October is the month dedicated to domestic violence. And it doesn't just happen to women, it happens to men too. So, I'd like you to welcome Lissette, Andrey, and Veronica for opening up tonight and speaking about domestic violence. Okay, let's get to it. Lissette, we have Andrey, and we have the beautiful Veronica. They're all beautiful. Thank you so much for being here. I know this is a really tough topic to talk about. So let's get to it. Have any of you experienced domestic violence in your very own home? And if so, how has it affected you? Have any of you experienced it right in your own home? You can, either one of you can start.
I most of the time have experienced domestic, I call it domestic violence. I don't know. I've been an abused child since I was a child. I had an alcoholic mother, and as I was growing up, I thought it was acceptable. Not really acceptable, but that I thought it was like not okay, but it's like she did this to me, now that my partners are doing this to me. And it's like,
so do you think that because when it started so young, it transferred right into adulthood? So then it's just carrying on to like your teenage life. Then it's carrying on to your adulthood. Because that's what's happened.
it's like break the cycle of abuse.
Yes.
You know, and that's what needs to be done.
Absolutely.
And the only way that can be done, I think, is with education. More like parenting programs or, you know, like you said, informing the children or as they get youngsters, they get older at school.
Yeah.
First time the abuse happens, get away and don't go back.
Right.
Because if a person does that, they're cutting it off.
And Andrey, you mentioned that you've been abused and you've been beaten up. How do you stay so positive? Because you're a really positive and caring and happy-go-lucky guy. So how do you do it? Because you could have wound up on the dark side.
I was with my mom. Like, I never knew my dad, but I was with my mom the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
And every relationship she gets into, like, they're cool the first, but like as days go by, they just turn on me just like that.
Isn't that something? I'm telling you, you hear that more and more each day. I am promising you, I hear it constantly. Stepfathers, how they get all chummy, sweet and nice, and all of a sudden they turn.
I mean, that's true, but I feel like there's also, we should probably shine some light, because it's not like just men who are the abusers. It can be women.
Oh, absolutely.
And I think that goes very,
Absolutely.
like, people overlook it because it's a woman and they're like, it's whatever, like, how can you not defend yourself? But there's those certain men that have probably like the low self-esteem, or they were raised a lot differently, and so then and in their case it would probably be their mother who was doing the abusing,
dominating.
And so then they think it's okay. They think that when they're in relationships, that's how they are acting, and that's how they are. That's what they're attracted to, and that's what they attract, because they're just like, well, that's how my mother treated me, so I guess that's okay.
Right, that's so true. I'm so glad you're bringing that up. That is so true, because it just isn't women. It really is men, and there are so men that are so submissive. They're so sweet and loving, and then there's that powerful woman that really knows that, like, oh, he's a little sucker, I think. Although he's not a sucker, he's just very sweet.
When you're that far, my sister, she, to be honest, I do not believe their marriage is very healthy per se, because she is the abuser, but then he does it back to her. So I think that's even worse, when there's just like constant, but they're both like, they're attracted to it or they're used to it.
Ever call a hotline, or has anybody here called a hotline?
Yeah, and especially after being abused, like if the abuser's not around, if you are able to get to a phone and talk to someone, you really don't want to, because they start asking you a bunch of questions. Where are you? What's your number? And it's like kind of turn you off, and then you don't want to talk to anybody. You just want to hang up and like that. But if
because you're scared. You're so scared.
You just want someone to talk to. Look, I've just been abused. Can you just talk to me? I don't want the police involved right now, and give you that option if you do want to contact someone. the police or something. No, but someone needs to be there for whoever calls 3 o'clock in the morning.
Well, I mean,
Yeah, because like I
you
said,
are the living proof that although you've gone through what you've gone through, you have 10 children, because there are some people that go through abuse and they're like, that's it, I'm scared, I'm not gonna have any kids. 10?
And that you're so open to like another marriage.
So, yeah.
Yeah, it's at the end because I was, But like I said, I'm hoping he's getting help because he is going to an entity for help. But it's not healing me because he's done it for so long.
It's usually the ones that are the closest.
Yes,
and I read
so
so many different things. It's always the ones that are the closest who are getting kidnapped, raped, abused.
And then she went and she couldn't stand it anymore. She was living with this guy. Her brother was living in the same household as she was. Her mother didn't do anything. And it's like I said, there's mothers that will not abuse their children, and then there's mothers that just, because they're so closed off and they're like, it's not abuse. They end up doing the abusing. I mean, maybe she didn't physically abuse her, but in a way, not doing something about it or to help your child, that is abuse. That is abuse. You are just playing another part.
And I do want to clarify something. It wasn't my therapist that told me that I was more likely to abuse my children. It was someone from children's services. A children's service worker told me that, and that was their statistics.
Oh, they're close.
And statistics are wrong because look at how children's services are contracting out and taking care of those children. That's another show.
That's a whole other show. But I hear you on that. And any other thoughts, Andre? I mean,
I have also one. You guys want to hear it?
Yeah, we'll hear it before we wrap up, and we'll give everybody the hotline number.
And this is a true story too. When I was young, my mom's boyfriend, every day he always threatens to beat me first, and then he's gonna go after everyone that I'm in contact with.
Oh, like with your friends?
Yeah, he's gonna beat them next. I was like, okay. That one made me mad. I was like, look, you can abuse me, but come at my friends, that's not gonna happen.
See, that's also the problem, though. You shouldn't. You shouldn't have to say that. You shouldn't be like, oh, hurt me, don't hurt everybody else, because you're so terrified.
What age were you at that time when you perhaps said that?
I was like 12 or 13.
Is that when you kind of started getting abused? Because I'm thinking you might have just gotten used to like physically abused?
Physically and emotionally.
And emotional?
Everything, all of them.
And so, but then although your mom, I'm sure she's a wonderful woman.
What's worse about it is that my mom didn't even recognize it.
And did you tell her?
I told her
and she just didn't want to believe it. See, there's so many moms that are in denial, and they just allow. I mean, I have a son. You better, God forbid, touch hair on my son because you better run real quick.
Well, because I abuse Jackie, I act that way in my home sometimes. If I see my husband talking rough or his body motions, I will jump in and it's like, you shouldn't have to defend yourself in your own home. Yeah. That's supposed to be your safe haven.
So I want to just thank my guests, Lissette, Andre, Veronica. This is a really, really touchy subject, and not many people want to come on and talk about it and really express what they've gone through or not gone through or I've seen some people go through. So I really want to thank you so much for being here. And guys, thank you so much for being on my show and watching my show. It's the Jackie Nova Show, Domestic Violence. Actually, I have a National Domestic Violence HotLine, 1-800-799-7233. 1-800-799-7233. You can also go to thehotline.org, and it's going to be on the text at the bottom. Please stay tuned for my next show. Any questions, you can find me at jackienova7@gmail.com. Check me out next time. It's the Jackie Nova Show, and thank you so much to my guests. You guys are really great. Thank you so much. Thank you. Oh my goodness. Thank you so much. Andre, you're a great soul. You're a brave soul, Veronica.
You know why I had my first child at 16? Because I wanted